Hello students, this is Dr. Mercado speaking. Welcome back. In this particular lecture, we are going to begin covering Chapter 13, which deals with the statement of cash flows. This is for my Accounting 2401 Principles of Financial Accounting class. Just a general reminder, please make sure that you read before you attempt any of your assignments so you can have an understanding of what is going on in the chapter, okay? Reading is not optional, it is required, okay? I also want to encourage everybody, if you have questions or concerns as you're working your problems, please reach out to me. My office hours are posted on your syllabus. Feel free to either call or stop by or schedule a meeting or whatever is it that works for you so we can discuss any issues that you have and I can help you resolve them so you can move on and understand the specific problems that you're working on. Now, a lot of the problems in your homework have shown me how videos in Cengage. Please make sure that you do view those videos. They help a lot in understanding how to solve the problem in combination with the different examples provided on your ebook. Okay, so please utilize all of the resources. Please read the instructions carefully in each of the problems. Some of the problems provide you with, if you're going to be entering an outflow of cash, to enter it with a minus sign. Okay, I've had students contact me, Miss, the numbers are right and the system is marking them wrong. Okay, why? Because you forgot to enter the minus sign. So please make sure that you carefully read the problem instructions for each problem, understand what they're asking you, how to enter the amounts, and that way you can be able to avoid any errors that are just very simple to correct. Okay, so this particular lecture is an introductory problem. Before I begin, this entire chapter is going to be focusing on one financial statement, which is the statement of cash flows. So we've already prepared the income statement, the statement of owner's equity, and the balance sheet. Okay, those three financial statements have been covered throughout the previous chapters. Now, cash flows is a little bit complex, so a whole chapter is dedicated to understanding and preparing the statement of cash flows. You will have to prepare a statement of cash flows on your exam, okay? So please make sure that you understand. Now, what is a statement of cash flows? So basically, a statement of cash flows reports a company's cash inflows and outflows. We are worried about transactions that affect cash, okay, for a specific period. Okay, the statement of cash flows provides information about a company's ability to do the following. There's four things. We have to generate cash from operations. If you're not generating cash from operations, then why are you in business? Okay, the goal of every business is to generate profits, to generate cash. So it's very important that that's one of the main things that the statement of cash flows measures. To maintain and expand its operating capacity, to meet its financial obligations, and to pay dividends. Okay, so the statement of cash flows provides useful information about those four things that are very important to internal and external stakeholders. Okay, so the statement of cash flows is used by managers in evaluating past operations and in planning future investing and financing activities. It is also used by external users such as investors and creditors. Okay, so let's say you go to a bank, they're going to ask for your statement of cash flows. They want to know if you are going to be able to pay the loan back. Okay, so it's very important that we prepare and that we understand how to prepare a statement of cash flows. The statement of cash flows is broken down into three sections or categories. Okay, and it's done by the type of cash flow activity. Okay, so the first type of cash flow activity is your cash flows from operating activities. These are any cash flows from transactions that affect the net income of the company. Okay, some examples include the purchase and sale of merchandise by a retailer. The second section deals with cash flows from investing activities, and these are the cash flows from transactions that affect investments in the non-current assets of the company. These include examples of purchasing or selling any fixed assets such as equipment and buildings, And then we have the cash flows from financing activities, and these are the cash flows from transactions that affect the debt and the equity of the company. Examples include issuing or retiring equity and debt securities. Okay, there's a lot of information on your book. Please read it. That way you understand, as we are covering these problems, what we have to do. Now, this problem is fairly short. It shouldn't take us very long to complete. We are provided with a transaction that we have to analyze and classify as to where should we put these transactions in our statement of cash flows. Okay, so it says exercise 1310, reporting land transactions on the statement of cash flows. Okay, so on the basis of the details of the following fixed asset account, we're going to indicate the items to be reported on the statement of cash flows. We are dealing with land, okay? So if we can see here, as of January the 1st, we have a beginning balance of $925,000 of land in our books. Remember, land is recorded at the cost. What we paid for the land is what we recorded the land for, okay? So the balance, that's something that we're not going to include because that already happened. That's just the balance of the account. What we are interested in looking at is what happened during the period. Well, during the period, during the year, okay, we have on March the 12th, we purchased for cash. We purchased additional land for cash, and we paid $142,400. Okay, so we purchase land. So what happens when you purchase land? Okay, obviously land increases, right? Okay, here it's showing you that the land account is increasing. Land is an asset. You increase an asset by debiting the account. It says that you purchased for cash. How did you pay for your land? With cash. That is what I'm interested in when I'm preparing my statement of cash flows. How did I pay for this land? Well, I paid for it in cash. That is going to affect my statement of cash flows, okay? So, purchase for cash, I paid $142,400. Okay, so I'm going to put the item here. Cash paid for the purchase of land. Okay, so I paid cash to buy land. Okay, now what section of the statement of cash flows is that going to go under? If we go back to our three categories, we have operating, investing, and activities. If we look at the investing section, it says that these are the cash flows from transactions that affect investments in the non-current assets of the company. This includes the purchase and sale of fixed assets, such as equipment and building. That includes land. Land is a non-current asset. It's a fixed asset. We're buying more of it, so we're buying land. So we need to put it into this section, into the investing activities section. Okay, so the section that it falls under is the investing activities section. Okay, now are we going to add or subtract? Okay, so we need to look at the impact of this transaction to cash. So we know that land is increasing because now we have more land, but I paid for the land with cash. So I'm interested in knowing, because I am preparing the statement of cash flows, what is happening to my cash because of this transaction. Did my cash increase or decrease because of this transaction? Well, you did buy land and you used up your cash, so that means that your cash decreased. So this is going to be deducted. Okay, so this is going to be a deducted. Okay, and the dollar amount, it was going to be $142,400. Okay, and it's going to be deducted, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it with a minus sign. Okay, so it's going to be a deduction. So cash is going to be subtracted or deducted $142,400 because we paid cash to buy the land. Okay, this happened. Let me put here. Let me just insert. Okay, this is happening on March the 12th. Okay. On October the 4th, okay, you sold a piece of land for $102,700. Okay. You sold it for $102,700, yet in my books I cleared it for $89,400. Why? Okay. When we clear our fixed assets from our books, we always clear it for the amount that it cost us originally. Okay. So, in this particular case, the land cost me $89,400. That is how much I'm going to clear my account for. Okay. Okay. In my land account, I am going to clear my asset for the amount that it cost me. I sold it for 102, but when I clear my land, I'm going to clear it only for the value that I originally purchased it. Okay? That is when we're talking about land. Am I interested in what is happening to my land account? Not right now. I'm interested in knowing what is happening to my cash account because of this transaction. So, I sold a piece of land and I received $102,700. Okay? Is that going to increase or decrease my cash? So here we have cash received from sale of land. Okay. So we sold the land for $102,700. If we refer back to our investing activities, it says that we need to record either purchases or sales of fixed assets under the investing activities. So this transaction is also going to be reporting under the investing activities section. But in this case, we are going to add this amount. Why? Because cash is received. That means we have more cash. So this is going to be added. Okay. And how much am I going to add? I'm going to add the amount that I received. I received $102,700 for it. Okay. So I'm going to put that as a positive number because this is cash received. Cash received will be positive. Cash deducted will be negative. Okay. Okay. Next, okay, we need to figure out, obviously, let's look at our calculator. Okay. We sold a piece of land for $102,700. Okay. Yet we had it in our books for $89,400. That means that we generated a $13,300 gain on the sale of the land. Okay. So we have a gain on the sale of the land. Okay. Where are we going to report that gain? Okay. So on October the 4th, we have a gain on the sale of land. Okay. So what's going to happen? Okay. What's going to happen with that gain? Okay. So if you look, the cash received from the sale, the full amount of $102,700 was already recorded under the investing activities section. Okay. We did have a gain that we need to recognize, okay, because we did sell it for more than what we had it in our books. But now we need to look at our operating section of our statement of cash flows. Okay, and we're going to go over the operating statement, the operating section of our statement of cash flows in the next problem in detail. Okay, just know there's an exhibit in your book that shows you the 3 steps that we need to take into consideration when we are preparing the operating section of the statement of cash flows. Okay. We have to make some adjustments to reconcile net income to net cash flows. The first adjustment is depreciation. Okay. The second adjustment is the gain on sale of land. Okay. If we ever have a gain on a sale of a piece of land, okay, that gain needs to be deducted from the operating activity section. Okay. The gain on the sale of land needs to be deducted from the net income in determining the net cash flows from operating activities. Okay. If the indirect method of reporting cash flows from operating activities is used. Okay. We need to deduct it from the top section because all of the amount has been recorded under the investing activities. We don't want to double count our gain. Okay, so the gain on the sale of land will be reported under the operating activities section. And that gain is going to be deducted. If you see here, it's going to be deducted, okay, from the operating activities section, okay? And because it is deducted, we are going to enter it, okay? And how much was the dollar amount? Let me see. Let me get my calculator. I believe it was 13,300, okay? 102,700 minus 89,400. That's 13,300. And I believe I was looking back right now at the problem on Cengage, and the dollar amount I believe does not have to be entered in minus for the setup how it is, because I'm already saying that we're going to deduct 142,400, we're going to add 102,700, and we're going to deduct 13,300. So these dollar amounts really don't matter. Like they should be just all positive because we are already identifying here if it's going to be added or subtracted. So we're going to deduct that amount, add that amount, and deduct that amount. Okay, that's just the setup. If we are actually preparing the statement of cash flows, then you would be entering those with minus. Okay, let me show you what I mean. So for example, if we were actually reporting this as a section, in our statement of cash flows, it would look like this. We would have a section that keeps all of this information. We would label it cash flows from or used for investing activities. And then we would have the cash received from sale of land. Okay. And then we would have 102,700. And then we would have the cash paid for purchase of land, okay? And then that would be 142,400, okay? So if we were preparing our actual statement of cash flows, this would be the section that we will be preparing, and that is how it would look, okay? The gain would not be recognized. It's just that in the problem, they're asking you to indicate where the items would be reported on the statement of cash flows. Those two would be reporting under the investing, and then that one would be reported under the operating section, basically as an adjustment to the operating activities for that particular period, okay? If we are doing the actual statement of cash flows, we do have to indicate if it's cash being received, positive. If it's cash being paid out, it will be negative because our cash is decreasing. Okay, so this is the particular problem that we are working on. Please make sure that you review all of the information. We are going to have some more lectures on this. We are going to have one towards the end where I am going to complete a completed statement of cash flow. So stay tuned for that. Please work on your assignments during the week. Make sure that you meet the assignment deadlines. And if you have questions or concerns, do not hesitate to reach out to me. And that is basically it for this lecture. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.